All right, the Inspector General at the Department of Defense released a report detailing a series of misconduct allegations by then White House physician Ronny Jackson. Accusations include sexual harassment, use of alcohol, and creating a hostile work environment. That was all picked up by CNN and blown out of proportion. Here to respond exclusively to those allegations is former Navy Admiral, Doctor, and current Congressman Ronny Jackson. Congressman, good to see you again.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all having me.
You bet. So I worked with you for several months in the White House. I've seen you in action. I've seen you as a leader. I've seen you as a doctor. And so I've seen your workplace conduct. But I want to walk through the conclusions that came out of this report and allow you to respond to them. So I kind of feel like they're in two big buckets. The first one is this alleged failure to respect subordinates. It says made sexual statements about a female subordinate, disparaged, belittled, bullied, and humiliated subordinates, created a negative work environment, failed to conduct himself in an exemplary manner. They say that they interviewed 60 individuals, which is interesting to me because you served over 3 administrations, and you think about the number of people that you would have served in a White House and the number of people that would have served under you. That's sort of an interesting subsample, it seems like. But I want you to respond to that first bucket of allegations.
Well, you're right, Sean. I worked for 3 administrations. I had hundreds, literally hundreds and hundreds of people that worked for me. They were my subordinates during that period of time. I worked for 3 administrations, 3 presidents, and it's just complete garbage. I mean, this is nothing more than an effort of the left to take me down. This is a tool in their toolbox that's perfect for Ronny Jackson because it's, it was an investigation that's been out there for over 3 years at this point. But it's complete garbage. They said they interviewed 60-something people or whatever. They may have interviewed 60-something people, but I can guarantee you that the vast majority of the statements in this report came from a small handful of disgruntled employees. Was I hard on people? Did I hold people to a high standard? Absolutely. I worked in a no-fail environment. I was taking care of the President of the United States. I was responsible for the life of the president during 3 different administrations, and so we worked hard, and we had a high standard. I never ever fired anybody that worked for me. I never gave a single person that worked for me a bad evaluation. I went out of my way to write letters of recommendation and make sure that people progressed in their careers. Almost to a person, every single person that worked in my unit throughout the time I was there asked to be extended at the White House because they wanted to stay in the job, and that's where the rub comes, because not everybody could be extended. People that were pulling their weight, that were carrying other people's weight, they were extended because they were getting a lot done for us. People that weren't pulling their weight, they were allowed to move on and take orders elsewhere, when the military decided it was time for them to leave. That's where the gist of this comes from. But I have never treated any of my subordinates with disrespect. I have certainly never, ever made any sexually inappropriate comments to anything. And in the report, it says that I made a sexually inappropriate comment to a man in my unit about a woman in my unit. That's the extent of it. It's one person saying that, and one person is all they needed to make this happen. This report was totally politically motivated, and I can tell you that because, these folks, even though this is DOD, it's a DOD IG. There's an acting IG. We have an acting Secretary of the Navy. We have all these acting roles. A lot of these people are auditioning for jobs right now. What better way to audition for a job in the Biden administration than to cut the head off of President Trump's physician? Not just his physician, but somebody that was an appointee in the Trump administration, there was his nominee for the Secretary of the VA, and it was his personal physician, and they got elected to Congress in a pro-Trump district with Trump's support. They hate me. They've hated me since day one. They hated me while I was on active duty because of my support for President Trump. And they really hate me now that I'm in Congress and I'm outspoken against the left and their agenda. And that's what this is all about. They want to shut me up because they don't like people talking about all the garbage that's in some of these bills that you guys have been talking about recently. And I'm a loud voice in opposition to a lot of this, and they don't like that. And so this is an effort to get me to take me down. And believe me, this will not shut me up in any shape, form, or fashion.
Congressman, Sean mentioned 2 buckets of allegations. That second bucket is that you drank while on the job and took drugs, specifically violated White House military office policy by drinking beer while on a presidential trip to Argentina, while took Ambien during official travel, drank alcohol with your subordinates, and engaged in yelling that might wake the president. Did you drink while on the job? Did you take Ambien while on these trips?
Absolutely. I have never, ever had consumed alcohol while I was on duty on a trip. I had the highest level of clearance. Sean knows this. I had the highest level of clearance that you can have.
Hold on. I'm sorry, sir. You just said absolutely. So are you confirming that you did this, or you didn't? I just want to be clear with what you're saying yes to.
I'm saying I absolutely never consumed alcohol while I was on duty on a trip ever. I didn't. I didn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Absolutely, that did not happen. And, you know, I was going to say, Sean, you know as well as anybody, I had the highest level of clearance you can have. And not only did I have it, but I had it for 14 years during 3 presidential administrations, and I still have it. And so my point is that if any of this stuff were true, especially that type of stuff, I would have not been able to serve in the role that I was in, and this would have come to light a long time ago, right? Why is this coming out now? Why did it only come out when I was a nominee for the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, a Trump nominee, when I had the Trump stamp on me and I was President Trump's nominee? That's when these accusations came out. Why did they sit on these accusations for 3 solid years? Not a single word. I was even told that the investigation was closed down 24 hours after President Biden got sworn in. He got sworn in on January 20, of this year. January 21st at 12:01, I got a call from the IG saying that they were going to publish this, that they were going to finalize this investigation and give it to the press.
Well,
That's crazy.
you mentioned you worked for 3 administrations. Let me read you part of what President Barack Obama hand wrote about you in a performance review, describing you as, quote, a tremendous asset to the entire White House team, and declaring, quote, you're doing a great job, genuine enthusiasm, poised under pressure, incredible work ethic, and follow through, while recommending you for promotion. It seems to me that if there were allegations about you not leading your team well or behaving in a way that wasn't acceptable, that the President of the United States wouldn't have been allowed to do that. And what I mean by that is that his own advisors would have said, Mr. President, this is not a guy that you want to put that down for.
Absolutely, Sean. And not only did he write those evaluations, and that's just one of multiple evaluations that he hand wrote while I was in the administration, he promoted me to admiral. Okay. And so, this whole thing is just, it's just a political hit job. It really isn't. Go back to the accusation about the drugs. That's absolutely positively insane. I don't know if you remember or not, but when I came out as the VA nominee, Tester, labeled me as the candy man. And he was out there actually saying that they had reports that I was inappropriately or recklessly prescribing narcotics. That is complete garbage. I can tell you the number of times in the White House in 14 years that I was in the White House, I can count the number of times that I prescribed narcotics right here on this hand. Right here. I never, ever, ever prescribed or gave narcotics to anyone in the White House. Now, I gave Ambien and Provigil because I was the world's expert on what we call sleep hygiene, on traveling all over the planet and going through multiple time zones. We would leave, Sean, you would know this. We'd get up in the morning. We'd get on Air Force One. It'd be 9 o'clock in the morning. We'd fly 13 hours to Southeast Asia. We'd land. Guess what? It's 9 o'clock in the morning. Guess what? You have a 14-hour schedule ahead of you. Me, you, the Secret Service, everybody that's on the plane has to go to work and work a full day. I was very good at what I did in regards to helping people sleep when they needed to sleep and be awake when they needed to be awake, so that we could function, do our duty, and take care of this country. And I'll defend that to the hilt. And these accusations, these are one person in a lot of cases making one accusation, and the DOD IG taking it as the gospel truth, publishing it, and saying that it happened. This is a political hit job, and this is I will not let it. I will not let it influence my attitude and my aggressiveness on the Hill.
Well, I will tell you this, as somebody who saw your care up close to my colleagues, myself, to the president, I'll take it every day of the week. I know how well you do your job, how qualified you are, and how very interested you are in each individual person and the care that they get. So I will tell you that if they want to get a 61st person, I'm on Team Jackson.
And if you got something good to say about me, Sean, it's not going to get in the report. They're not going to listen to you. They're just looking for folks that got something bad to say.
All right. Well, that's why we have a show. We get to say all the good stuff. Congressman Ronny Jackson, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
You bet.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.